Hi everyone, and welcome back to National Intern Week 2022. I'm Eloise from CareerMap, and today we have the Jaguar Land Rover team to talk to us about placement years and how they can accelerate your career. So you're going to get lots of top tips and insights into the process. So I hope you're excited and ready to take some notes. Just to let you know that this session will be recorded, so if you need to come back to a slide or you want to revisit anything, you'll be able to find the recording afterwards and come back to it. At the end, there will be a QR code that you'll be able to scan that will take you to more information about the process. I also did drop that in the chat, so if you go all the way down to the bottom of the chat, it is the highlighted link at the bottom of the chat. I'll put that in again later as well in case you can't see it or you're on your phone. We also have Rob in the chat from Jaguar Land Rover. So if you would like to ask him any questions as you go, you can put those in. And there will also be time for a full Q&A at the end. So we'll do a presentation, you'll hear lots of information. And then if you have more detailed questions or stuff that comes up during the process, type it in the chat and I'll pick those up at the end and make sure they get answered. And yeah, so now I'm going to hand over to Beth, Rob, Chantal, Harry and Sam from Jaguar Land Rover, who are going to take you through their presentation. And really enjoy it.
Thank you so much. Okay, so hi everybody, and welcome to this webinar today that's going to be focused on undergraduate placements. As I understand, I'd imagine most of you have probably just gone back to uni, maybe you've enjoyed Freshers Week and had some fun. But it's really great to see lots of you joining us today. It shows that you're obviously thinking about placements and thinking about your future career early doors as you've just gone back to university, which is really, really positive. So I'm going to start off by playing you a short video and then I'll talk to you more about what we're going to cover today.
We are the future of movement.
A future built on modern luxury.
Creating vehicles rich in sustainability,
In emotion and in detail.
We're shaping truly exceptional vehicles.
And we do it with soul.
We are respected.
we work as one.
We act with integrity.
We're reimagining the driving of tomorrow and redefining what's possible today.
Together,
we are the future of movement.
Perfect. So that is the very recent launch video from our new campaign for our 2023 intake across our apprentice, graduate and undergraduate programs. So I hope you enjoyed that, and there'll be a couple more videos I'm going to show you throughout this as well. So let me talk about what we'll cover today. While I do this, it would be really great if you could use the chat function and tell us what university you're from. So the university you're currently studying at now. If you can pop that in the chat, that'd be really good. So what are we going to discuss? We're going to do some Mythbusters first. We'll start with an icebreaker and we will go through some Mythbusters around undergraduate placements. Then I'll go a little bit into what is an undergraduate placement and is it right for me? I'll give you a little bit of an introduction into Jaguar Land Rover, and I'll talk about the programs that we have available that have all very recently opened and are live right this second. I will give you some information about our application process, and I'll give you some exclusive hints and tips just especially for this webinar as well. And then I've got Chantal, Harry and Beth with me today, which is fantastic. Rob is also on the chat as well to answer questions, but they'll tell you a little bit more about their experiences, and then we will head to a Q&A as well. So you'll have plenty of opportunities today to ask us any questions you have at all. So hopefully you've been using the chat function. I can see that. Let's start with some undergraduate Mythbusters. So you can see them all on screen now. I'll go across the screen when I read these through. So true or false is the game. You can use the chat to enter, obviously, true or false for each one. First one, all placements are unpaid. Is that true or is that false? So I'll wait for your chats to come through now. True or false? All placements are unpaid. Okay, the answer on that one is false. So I can see Hugo has put something in, Alex, Mohammed too. Yeah, that is false. Placements aren't all unpaid. There are many placements that are indeed paid by lots of employers, including us. So you'll see the undergraduate salary in a minute when I get onto that slide. But yes, our placements are paid. Okay, number 2. When applying for a placement, employers will look for you to have knowledge of the company and passion for the industry. Is that true or false? I'll just wait for your chats to come through. I think there's just a slight 5-10 second delay before they come through to me. Okay, seeing a true come through there. A couple of trues. Yep, right again. That's 2 out of 2 so far. So yeah, employers very much want you to have some knowledge of the company and passion for the industry. It's really important when you're looking for placements that you have a look at everything that's on offer and understand, obviously, what are you doing at university at the moment? What's your course? Where do your passions lie? And how do you truly fit to the roles that are on offer? And then you can tailor that in, obviously, the applications that you make for specific roles as well. It's really important. And as you get further down the process, when you start getting to things like interviews and assessment centres, having that bit of knowledge for the company is really, really useful and will definitely help you in succeeding through the application process. So question 3, undergraduate schemes are impossible to get onto unless you're on track for a first or a 2-1. Do you think that's true or false? Do you have to have a first or a 2-1 to get onto an undergraduate scheme? False. A couple of falses coming through. Yeah. There is a true coming through as well, but mostly false on there. The answer is it is false. So you don't have to have a first or a 2-1 necessarily to get onto an undergraduate scheme. There might be some companies that do ask for those results specifically, but I know for a fact at Jaguar Land Rover that we do not. So the entry criteria for our undergraduate schemes is a 2-2 or above. So not strictly just a first or a 2-1. Number 4, you'll receive dedicated training and development plans as an undergraduate at Jaguar Land Rover. True or false? I'm hoping we all get this one. The answer is on that one, it is true. So we've got a dedicated program team available, which is really useful. They will help you and provide you support throughout your placement. You'll obviously have your line manager and your teams as well, which they'll also all help you along your placement and give you the sort of knowledge and expertise that you need to succeed. So that one is true. As an undergraduate, you will be asked to work on projects that are at the forefront of the business. So one of the common myths of an undergraduate placement sometimes is that you won't get much responsibility because it's only kind of a short-term placement. Do you think that you would get some responsibility at Jaguar Land Rover? Seen a lot of truths come through, and I'm happy to hear it. I'm sure Harry and Beth, who are both undergraduates at the moment, will be able to talk to this a little bit later on. But yes, you will definitely work on some really key projects when you are here as an undergraduate at Jaguar Land Rover, which I think is super fantastic. It really gives you that experience, and it's not just a case of doing admin or doing really small tasks or taking notes and stuff like that. You will very much be involved in the centre of key projects. We've got many undergraduates currently in the business, and lots of them have had real responsibility in leading key projects across the business. So that one is indeed true. Another question: you should apply for as many positions as possible to increase your chance of being successful. True or false? So this one may be a little bit more of a tricky one. Let's see what answers come through on the chat. I feel some thinking heads are happening at the moment. Okay, we've had a false come through. A few falses coming through. I would agree. I think you could swing this both ways, but I would agree. What I would say is it's not about applying to as many positions as possible and as many companies as possible to be successful. It's really about choosing where are your passions, what are the companies that you feel are right for you and that you aspire to work for, and applying to those. Now, yeah, totally get, obviously, it's difficult to get a placement. There's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of people that are going to be applying for them too. And there's only so many positions that will be available. So to an extent, yes, it's useful, I think, to do your research and apply for multiple companies. I'm not going to sit here and say that you wouldn't. I've been there and I did. I applied for quite a few placements. But you need to make sure that the ones you are applying for are actually ones that you really could see yourself doing. And also, it might not be the same for all employers, but at Jaguar Land Rover, you can only apply to one specific pathway. So when you go onto the website and you see all of those different roles available, you really do need to take the time to read and understand what those different roles offer and where you best see yourself fitting, because you can only make one application per recruitment year. So kind of a false, but there's a little bit of true in it as well. So nobody's wrong there at all. Seventh one. So you're better off going straight to your final year and graduating to secure a job. An undergraduate placement will set you back a year. True or false? I'll be really interested to see your responses in this one. So I'll give you 15 seconds to answer this. So you're better off going straight to final year and graduating to secure a job. An undergraduate placement sets you back a year. Okay, we've had a true come through. Interesting. Okay, couple of trues, couple of falses, bit of a mixed bag there. So I'm not going to, there's a debate on this one. I'm not going to say that it is absolutely false. In my opinion, it is. And we'll have a little debate on this later, actually. A little bit of a teaser into what we'll do in a bit. But I personally think an undergraduate placement will really, really help you. And actually, what I found and what I see now, being in the role that I am in, is if you do an undergraduate placement, it can. In fact, I'm going to spoil the last. I'm going to spoil the last question on the Mythbuster here, but never mind. Doing an undergraduate placement can actually turn into a full-time offer. We're really pleased and proud at Jaguar Land Rover that is the case for a very, very, very large majority of our placements. So anybody that is successful in the placement, performs well, and is a good fit for the company, they will and they do come back and join us on our graduate schemes, which is absolutely fantastic. So just to give you a bit of background on myself, I was an undergraduate here, so I studied at the University of Worcester. I did an undergraduate placement at Jaguar Land Rover, and then I went back to my final year, and I had a few mates that didn't do a placement, and then I had a few, but a lot of them were looking for roles. And obviously you go back to your final year, you've got loads of coursework, loads of assignments and deadlines and exams to prepare for, and all of these fun things that we all enjoy at university. And they were all then additionally searching for jobs, researching companies, applying for jobs, going through the application process. Me, I already had my offer from Jaguar Land Rover, so once I was sat there relaxed, I obviously had my university coursework to do, but it very, very much helped me. And then I came through onto the graduate scheme, and now I'm in the position I'm in the early careers recruitment team, having completed the grad scheme back in 2020. I was trying to think the date there. So not too long ago. But yeah, an undergraduate placement can turn into a full-time offer, and I wouldn't strictly say you're better off going straight to final year and graduating to secure a job. There's pros and cons of doing a placement, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. So let me move on. Thank you for your participation in that Mythbuster. Really, really good. I'm going to move on now and talk about undergraduate placements. Just before I do that, though, I'm going to launch a couple of polls into the webinar. So hopefully you can see those. First one is, what year are you currently in at the moment? So which year are you in at university? Hopefully you can see that. I've just launched it. Let us know on the chat if you can't. So I think most of you should be first and second years, but let's just see. Okay, so looking like a bit of a split across. So we've got 14% first years, 50% second years, 33% other. Thank you. I know it was a very quick poll. And just the next poll as well. Sorry, let me just go back to it. So I'm just going to ask this question. How much do you know about undergraduate placements already? So do you know nothing at all? Do you have a little bit of knowledge? Are you quite familiar, but just maybe want to learn a little bit more? Or are you an expert in everything placement and you know it all? Okay. So I'm seeing quite a few saying some limited knowledge and a few also saying fairly familiar. No one saying nothing at all. That's always a good sign, shows that people are prepared. Just a couple of people saying an expert in all things placement. So we've got a couple of experts in the room already. Well, hopefully by the end of today's session, we can give you a little bit more knowledge on undergraduate placements and what we offer at Jaguar Land Rover as well. But I'm sure this will help you regardless. Thank you for your participation in that. So what is an undergraduate placement? Undergraduate placements are for university students. They typically will fall in your penultimate year of your degree. You might be doing a standard sort of 3-year degree, or obviously 4-year with a placement, or you might be doing an integrated master's, but typically they'll be in that year before your final year. On an integrated master's, you'll have another 2 years left typically. They can very much vary. So they could be short-term summer placements, or they could be like year-long placements. All of our placements at Jaguar Land Rover at the moment are year-long. That may change in the future, but for now, and in terms of the ones that are open right this second, they are all year-long placements. Sometimes we have short-term ones in design. They are still to be confirmed. So I'm just going to put that out there. And a placement is a really, really good way to get industry insights and real-world experience relevant to your degree. I particularly found, I won't lie, I didn't love university. I don't love sort of education and academic learning. However, I genuinely, when I went to Jaguar Land Rover and did my undergraduate placement, I then went back to my final year, and some of the theory that I was like, oh, this is useless. I don't need this. I actually was like, okay, I actually saw that. So I did a business management degree, and there's things like change management and stuff like that. And I thought, actually, I saw that while I was at Jaguar Land Rover for 12 months. So started to get it. And it does help you in your final year. It really does. And obviously placements provide you as students with personal and professional development and skills that can support with your future careers. So they are really useful. And as I've said, they can lead to a full-time career. So I think it is very, very helpful to think about undergraduate placements. If you're in your first year, then obviously you won't be applying this year, you'll be applying next year, but it's very, very much worth you just start thinking about it, start having a little look at where you might want to work, because it will stand you in good stead for when you enter your second year and all of this is thrust upon you. And if you're in your second year at the moment, you are in that time where undergraduate placements are live for a lot of people, and you've got all your uni work to do. So I don't envy you, but I have been there. But yeah, all of our roles are live at the moment, and you can see these on our website. And if you're not in your first or second, if you're in your final, then you'll be looking more towards graduate roles. We do have those available as well, and they are also live. So maybe you're asking, how do I find the right undergraduate placement for me? And there's a lot of things you could really say here, but I think it's really important for you to think about the types of roles that are relevant to your degree, the industries that excite you, and the companies that you'd aspire to work for. So it's important to employers, and we can touch upon this more later, but it's important that you understand what you've actually applied for. You haven't just applied for the sake of it. We've seen some really great applications and obviously had some fantastic people come through, but we see some poor applications too, where people just apply for the sake of it and they don't actually know what the role is. And if you really, really want to succeed for your application and assessment, it's about how you align yourself. So if you are doing, let's say, electrical engineering in your course, then obviously, we've got an electrical engineering undergraduate and graduate scheme. There are also, though, some other graduate and undergraduate schemes you might be open to, and they obviously have different experiences that you'll get once you're on placement or once you start as a graduate, and they'll lead to the different jobs in the future. So it is worth thinking where your passion lies and obviously aligning yourself to that when you're applying to companies. Use your career service and use your tutors. Speak to family and friends, company website, online platforms such as CareermapTV, shout out to them today, and things like Rate My Placement and Grad Cracker. All of these places are really, really useful, and they're there to give you information about what an undergraduate placement is, and they will often list, obviously, jobs that are available. Career service will be able to help you with the types of things available. And, if you're saying, I want to work in this particular location because it's close to home, or perhaps I want to move completely away and I want to go and work in London or Manchester or West Midlands or wherever it might be, these kind of platforms can help too. And as I've said, company websites, that's where you're going to find all the information about the role specific to that company. So very, very much use them as your first port of call. And finally, research and prepare. So I've talked about aligning your skills and experience to the role, and I've mentioned about researching the company as well. And this is really, really important, but also important is taking time and care with your applications. It can be frustrating, I guess, if you're applying for lots of different employers and you've got to put your CV here and you've got to fill out these questions here and here. Totally get it, but it's worth the effort. And it's also worth you really taking time and care, because if you slip up and just do maybe put the wrong thing on your application, or you don't spend much time on it or anything like that, and don't include what the employer is looking for on that application, then you might not get through the process and then you've lost out on that opportunity. So a little bit of work up front is definitely worth it in the end. So I talked briefly in the Mythbusters activity that we did about this debate of what are your thoughts basically on this placement versus going straight to final year. What do you think? So I saw some true or falses in the chat, but let's use the chat function now. I'd love you to share your opinion. Where are you at? What do you think is best? Do you think doing a placement is best? If it is, why is that the one to do? Or do you think going straight to your final year and graduating and then getting a graduate job is the best thing to do? I'm really interested to know your thoughts, and then I will speak about this further and sort of give our perspective as Jaguar Land Rover. So you can use the chat function now. I'm seeing a couple come through already. So Amal said placements, you can get experience. Definitely agree. Also good with placements is you can get a taster for the business as well. So, and that works, it kind of works both ways, but for yourself, you could think, I really want to work in that industry. I really want to work for that employer. And you might get there and decide, you know what, I had a good experience. The people there were great, but it's just not for me. But equally, on the other flip side, and certainly what I found is you can do a placement, you can be aligned to the area that you think you want to go into and actually love it. And then know that, yeah, this is what I want to do. And obviously then if you can come back onto a graduate scheme, then bingo. So seeing some more about placement to build knowledge, definitely agree with that. A few people are 50-50 and I totally understand it. And like I said, you've just gone back to university. Wouldn't expect you all to have the sort of decided your opinions and have the expertise on which you think is best at this point anyway. So let's talk about that a little bit more, kind of my perspective. In fact, first, before that, we're going to hear from Shyam, who is a current data graduate at Jaguar Land Rover. We'll hear about his experience, and then I'll give my thoughts as well.
I completed my undergraduate placement here at Jaguar Land Rover, and it was an amazing experience. One of the benefits of this was it enabled me to secure a job offer before returning to complete my final 12 months studying my economics degree. And I was delighted to be able to return onto the analytics graduate scheme, where I'm looking forward to seeing how my career progresses at Jaguar Land Rover.
Okay, so that was Shyam sharing his experience. He did an undergraduate placement and managed to come back as a graduate as well. In terms of what I see the benefits of doing an undergraduate placement at JLR at, or in general, to be honest, you'll be able to engage in a program, in a dedicated learning program, and that's going to be delivered by an industry recognised provider as well. So you'll develop core skills, you'll develop some learning, and that's really going to then help you both when you go back to university. So some of those technical skills you'll pick up. You might have done a career, or you might be doing a university degree doing studio modelling, or you might be doing a degree around software engineering or something like that. But then getting into an employer and actually using the programs, using the code, stuff like that, doing all of these types of things is really helpful to go back to your final year, and you'll certainly learn a lot. Learning from industry leading experts. So I've worked in a few teams, as have most people at Jaguar Land Rover, worked in a few teams, and there's people in those teams that are maybe apprentices, maybe undergrads, grads with a couple of year experience, people that have been here 5, 10, 15 years. There's a lot of different people, a lot of expertise, and it's really useful, and that helps your personal and professional development. One of the great things about Jaguar Land Rover in particular is we have a large cohort of people that join us each year on our placements. So you'll join a community of undergraduates and early careers hires. They do loads of activities. We have something called the Early Careers Hub that run these activities, and there's lots on offer. So they do like rock climbing and football. They've recently just done, I think, their summer ball. I'm sure potentially they can, some of the undergrads on the call today can speak to that if they were there. Lots to enjoy. And you get real responsibility. And I think that's what's really important. It enhances your degree. It puts you apart from other people. So you might be thinking, well, the people that have gone to final year, they'll be able to get a graduate job a year earlier. Yes, they will. But you've got a year extra experience. It's going to stand you in better stead against people looking for grad programs. And you might just get an offer to join one anyway. Fast track that and fast track your experience. So there is definitely some positives. There's some cons. We won't deny that. So, if you've got a bunch of university friends you might live with at the moment and you do a placement and they don't, then obviously they'll leave university sooner than you, and you'll graduate a year later. So totally get that. You don't necessarily know if the company's for you. So placement does give you a fantastic opportunity to get that experience and almost try before you buy with the company. But you might not like it. You might not like the role that you've applied to potentially. So it can happen. And there is an adjustment to and from university. So that get up at maybe 6:30, 7 a.m., whatever it is, and getting to work each day. Yeah, it's different to university sometimes. So there are some cons. But overall, my feeling very much is an undergraduate placement is so crucial and important to you to be able to accelerate your future career. So who are Jaguar Land Rover? I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but obviously we're a British brand. We sell Jaguar vehicles and we sell Land Rover vehicles. We have recently launched our Reimagine strategy, which is all about our future in electrification and autonomy. It's all about sustainability, and we've got lots of targets on hitting net zero. That is the strategy that underpins the company, essentially. And at the heart of that future is our people. So people are really important to us. The good thing about early careers programs is people that join on those are recognised as the future leaders of the business. So there is a lot of emphasis and value placed by managers and people around the business on those people that join through these programs. So you can expect development and an increased focus and responsibility as a result, which is really great. Diversity and inclusion is super important to us. I always like to touch upon this because we are really passionate about our people and we're committed to having a diverse, inclusive and unified culture. So we want everybody that joins us to feel that inclusive and positive culture and be able to ultimately bring their authentic self to work and feel empowered to be able to reach their full potential with us. These are all of the networks that we have at Jaguar Land Rover. There's lots of different ones and they're expanding every day. There is a new network at the moment that I don't know if you can see it past me in the corner, but we've just had another new network join as well. And they do a really fantastic job. The Pride Network has very recently just been to I think it was in Birmingham, the Birmingham Pride. And that was a fantastic event. So these are our undergraduate programs. As I said, you need to be on track for a 2-2 or above in a relevant degree subject. And that's where that research into the role and stuff is really important. So there are obviously particularly entry requirements to doing certain programs with us. You can't be someone studying a business management degree and go and do electrical engineering. It's a little bit different. So it is important that you read through those role profiles and what the entry criteria are. Applications are open now, and the current undergraduate salary is $19,462, which is very good when you're young and at university and perhaps not had a professional job before. It's very nice. It's a welcome bonus. Lots of different roles on offer, from industrial operations, which is more in that sort of manufacturing space, through to lots of different areas in engineering, design, and we've also got commercial, human resources related roles, and Reimagine Jaguar, which is all about the very confidential future strategy of Jaguar. And we've got Beth with us today that's from that team. Clearly she can't go into too much in terms of what she does, but she's from that team and experiencing that right now as an undergraduate. And just to give you information, we have graduate programs too. They are also live right this second. And they are really, really great for that personal blend of personal and professional development. Lots of training on offer through them. Lots of different pathways available, as you can see on screen. And you can see how then that translates. So all of those roles that are available as an undergraduate are available as a graduate. And then there's just a couple more routes as well. And as I said, there are a lot of people we have every year that will do an undergraduate placement and then they get offered onto a graduate program too. So you can really see how that flows through. The current wage for a graduate program is $29,000 with a $2,000 joining bonus. I know that's being reviewed. Whether it changes, I don't know. But if it does, it will change for the better, not the worse. So good news on that one. So I'm going to give you the chance now to hear from a couple of our current undergraduates on a video that we recently filmed. After that, I'm then going to pass over to our current undergraduates, and we've also got Chantal, who was a previous graduate, and they'll talk a little bit more about their experience.
So Guillermo, what have you been involved in since starting your placement?
I have been involved in all my team's activities during the week. Basically, all my tasks are different. They cover lots of aspects of engineering itself. You feel like your projects really contribute to the outcome.
Have you been involved in any of the early careers events or socials or anything?
I haven't done many yet because I've only just been here for 6 weeks, but I'm really looking forward to the Early Careers Summer Ball, which is happening soon. Really I'm looking forward because we can meet not just undergraduates, but graduates and apprentices as well, which should be fun. Yeah.
Nice to dress up as well.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Always a good excuse.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I play badminton, I go to the gym.
It's really good, I was planning joining badminton, to be honest. It's really good.
It's on Thursdays.
I also signed up to the Gender Equality Network and the Pride Network on my first day. The Pride Network recently went to Pride London and they had a float and they went down.
I think I saw that,
that's really cool.
Yeah. So how was your experience here so far at Jaguar Land Rover?
Well, it has been an amazing journey. Everything since the beginning, since the day of the induction, everything has been really good. My team is really great. Like, everything is just going smooth. Well, I think it's because that we are given that many opportunities that there is always something for you. Like, you don't have to worry about fitting in the company.
Yeah, I have a very similar experience. I think the transition from university to work life was actually fairly smooth.
I didn't think it was. The early starts are not good. But, yeah, no, you get used to it, I think. Like the first few weeks I was like a zombie, I just couldn't do anything. But like eventually, like...
It's understandable.
After a few weeks you get used to it, and I actually quite like it now getting up early.
I think that everyone around you is there to help you, to support you.
Yeah.
So in that way, in a way, they want to help you transition as quickly as possible.
Everyone's so helpful. If no one's going to judge if you ask them questions or reach out.
They care about you. They really care about you.
They want you to learn and ask questions at the end of the day. That's what we're here for.
I think the best way for that is just to give it a go. Like whatever it is, just to give it a go. And if you don't understand anything, ask the people around you, the colleagues. They're always so helpful.
Yeah. But it's so nice to see like your cars out and about on the roads. Like every time you drive around and you see a Land Rover or a Jaguar, like it makes you realise like that's really like I'm working there, and it's like pinch yourself. It's definitely cool to feel like you're working at the future of the brand as well. Like you see all the things that no one else sees.
That's what I find really cool about research. Is like we're looking so far into the future, but it's really exciting.
It is weird to see and like think that far ahead in the future. But yeah, it's very cool.
Perfect. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, that's from the recent campaign, just to show a little bit of insight into our undergraduate programs. So I'm going to pass over now to our three lovely volunteers. I'll start with Harry, and he'll just talk a little bit about what he's doing at the moment on his undergraduate placement and why he thinks a placement is important. So Harry, over to you.
Hi everyone. I'm Harry, and I'm here in the design studio as a modelling undergraduate. So I just finished my second year of industrial design at Loughborough, and then I came here a few months ago. And I work in design, so I get given like the sketches, and I have to turn them into like the first 3D models of like all the future concepts of Jaguar and Land Rover, and sort of looking at where the business is going in the future. But yeah, I'm loving it here so far, and it's great just to have the opportunity to work and learn from others, but also develop your employability skills whilst you're here, your soft skills, your networking. It's a great opportunity, and I'm loving it.
So what made you think about Jaguar Land Rover and apply to join us here, and particularly on an undergraduate placement as well? Why a placement?
I decided to do a placement just because although it's a year out, I think you get all the rewards back, like you say, and the skills you learn, the people you meet, and just you're learning. So like for me, I'm literally doing what I would have dreamed of doing, designing and working with software that I wouldn't have had access to at university, but I'm learning from industry, and I'm learning from people that are really passionate and everyone that's interested in it. But yeah, for me as well, I just love cars. Like if I'm not here, I'll be at a car meet or at Goodwood Festival of Speed or something. So I've always loved Jaguar and Land Rover as a brand. So to work for something so iconic and sort of related to design, like the E-Type and the Defender, to work for a company that's done those, it's a really, really cool thing to say.
Amazing. Favourite moment so far?
It's a bit cliche, but probably the first day walking in, because I haven't been here in person until my very first day. And I remember walking in and seeing all the covers are off. The next like 2033 Land Rovers just sat next to my desk, and I was like, wow, like that is a real like crazy moment, and it never gets old. Like even today, still walking in and everything's around you. Just it's really cool place to be.
Perfect, thank you. I'm going to pass over to Beth now, but just for everyone listening, you can ask away your questions in the chat function. I've seen loads of really good ones come through, and we'll make sure we get round to those in a moment as well. And if you've got questions for any of us specifically, Harry, Chantal, Beth, and I will all be around to answer those. But Beth, over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Beth. I'm doing history and politics at Warwick, so I'd say that's probably not the typical career path within Jaguar Land Rover, but it just kind of goes to show that there's a programme for everyone within Jaguar Land Rover. It doesn't matter what your degree is. So I ended up at Jaguar Land Rover. I wasn't planning on doing a placement. It's not really what people do on my degree course at uni, but I kind of got to the start of second year and thought, I just don't really know what I want to do with my career. So I started applying to internships, and I came across the Reimagine programme, which it's all under NDA, so they couldn't say too much about the role, but it was all based around like future business strategy and sustainability, which I was really interested in. So I just thought this is a great opportunity for me, and I applied and I got it, which was amazing. I think doing a placement year is probably like the best thing I've done for my career so far. Like just in terms of like learning a complete different skill set, like in terms of research skills, like presentation skills, like the exposure you get. Like I get to develop proposals that go to like the senior managers and things like that, and that's coming from me and projects that I've led myself, and just learning how to kind of be within a corporate environment, I think is just so useful, just getting that sort of exposure. So yeah, that's probably, yeah.
Yeah, sounds great. What kind of, you've mentioned a couple of things like the sort of research skills, stuff like that, but what else have you learned whilst you've been on placement that you think is really going to help you when you go back to your final year?
I think just like asking questions. Like I go to a lot of meetings within my role, and it's just so interesting seeing how like critical learning skills are so important within like a corporate environment. And that's like something I'm learning how to do even more, is like how to develop my critical learning skills within a corporate environment, not just in terms of like an academic perspective.
Perfect. Thank you. And again, Beth will be around in a moment for the Q&A as well. So any questions you have specifically for her, then feel free to add them in the chat now. Thanks, Beth. And finally, over to you, Chantal. So obviously, you've already done a placement as an undergraduate a couple of years ago, and then finished a graduate scheme. So can you talk a little bit about sort of that journey you went on and where you are now?
Yeah, definitely. So, hi everyone. So, as Sam said, I'm Chantal, and I'm currently working in the HR team as a HRBP senior consultant, so working in the business partnering space. So, in terms of a bit of background about me, so I studied a degree in business management. I actually studied my degree though through a local college instead, through Solihull College University Centre. So not the typical route essentially of going straight to a normal university. However, my degree was linked with Oxford Brookes University. So essentially I did my foundation degree. I'd been doing that for a year or two when I reached out to a tutor to talk to them that I was interested in getting into HR, but wasn't sure what the right pathway was, and didn't essentially have a family member or so at home that would know the right pathway or steps to get into HR. So I'd spoken to a tutor that had worked at Jaguar Land Rover before, specifically within HR, who had talked to me about the different placement opportunities that were available that really sparked an interest in me, and straight away went ahead and applied for the programme. So essentially I came onto the programme a couple of years ago now, did an undergraduate placement in HR itself. So I think one of what Sam and the team have picked up on so far is about the real responsibility that you get coming onto an undergraduate scheme at Jaguar Land Rover. You are given real life projects, you are given real responsibilities. I was responsible for my own, what we would refer to a customer group of people within Jaguar Land Rover, where essentially I was responsible for looking after them, answering their queries, supporting them with any HR or people issues, which for me gave me a real sense of responsibility, and that I needed to do something and actually address these people's queries and issues. In terms of for me across my undergraduate placement, I think it does add real value for you going back to university. So I think lots of the university assignments or work you have to do actually does ask you to think about the real world of business, or how you might actually apply that within a business scenario. So going back to university, I actually had a project that was given to us that was for everybody, that was focused on Jaguar Land Rover and the international side of Jaguar Land Rover and the global expansion. So my placement and experience at Jaguar Land Rover actually really helped me with that assignment, which other people within my course didn't have because they hadn't done a placement before. So I think doing a placement just enables you to share your real life and experience and really embed that within your university learning. For me, I was lucky enough that I was offered a graduate scheme on the basis of my performance and the business need after my undergraduate placement. So as Sam mentioned, you have to perform well. There needs to be a business need for you to come back, but there definitely is opportunities for you. So I was really lucky that I didn't have to sit around, as Sam mentioned, go and apply for lots of graduate programs when I went back to university. It was quite a smooth transition for me, and an organisation that was familiar with and really understood the culture and what coming back to an organisation might look like and what I might get involved in within the future as well. So I came back on the graduate scheme, did a number of placements. We have in HR, we have three different areas: a HR shared service, a centre of expertise, and a business partner team. So I had the opportunity to flex across most areas of the model, which was fantastic. And really, I think the emphasis was you were given responsibility from day one across those programs and treated as you were part of the team. It wasn't you're given small tasks also and that nobody trusts you. Jaguar Land Rover is a really trusting organisation and wants you to succeed and reach your potential. So after completing the graduate scheme, I've done a number of roles. I worked in the early careers recruitment team for quite a period of time, probably about two or more years. So I've actually worked with Sam and the team, working to understand how we can share our placement opportunities, share our graduate opportunities. And I think what I've really learned from being involved in that role is Jaguar Land Rover has so many options available to undergraduates, graduates, that really it's a great opportunity for you to step outside of your comfort zone, take that opportunity, and really just develop your skills and experience. The organisation are here to make sure you succeed, and that's why we want people to come on board, get on our programmes, and really help you to flourish and achieve your potential.
Perfect, thank you. Really, really good summary of your experience and the sort of growth you've shown. Obviously now promoted to HR business partner as well, so it's great to see that following completion of the undergraduate and graduate scheme, you're now going up and progressing through the ranks too. So it's really great. So I'm going to whiz through a few bits about application process just quickly, because I want to give you as much time for Q&A as possible. So our application process, and they can vary across employers, just to let you know, our application process starts with an online application. Good news, no CV is needed. So you don't need the pain of creating a CV with us and having to update it, make it look great, and all of that horrible stuff that you have to do in the process. No CV, just an application form. It shouldn't take you long at all. One of the main things is really just showing your motivation for the role in that. And then if you get through the application stage, you'll go to online testing. This will be the sort of standard psychometric tests that you may already be used to or may know a little bit about. But if you don't, we do have some information on our website, and you can always Google psychometric tests. When people get to the stage, we give them some information about it anyway, and some practice tests too. But you can do loads of practice tests for free online, and I recommend you do them. If you progress through that, you'll go to our assessment centre, and this year that is going to be virtual, but that will include a motivational and behavioural interview, and then it will include a presentation or some sort of exercise, which will obviously be determined close to the time. And if you get through all of that, you will then get your offer, which is great. So obviously if you're successful, you'll get a verbal offer, and then it'll be confirmed in writing as well. Then, of course, there'll be a few months between that and when you actually start with us. So we'll definitely make sure that you stay connected. We'll give you information that you need. We'll help you through onboarding. We'll do engagement events where you'll get a chance to come on site and come and speak to us, hear from your manager, meet your team, and all of that kind of fun stuff before you start, just to ease the nerves a little bit. And then you'll start with us. So you'll have day one, you'll have your induction. Undergraduates this year will begin in July 2023. Graduates and apprentices will start in September 2023. A few hints and tips on screen. We can share these out after as well, but just it's all about really making sure you reread that application and take care with it. Apply as soon as possible. So our roles are open for another couple of months. Doesn't mean you should wait last minute. It's great that you're all on the webinar today, because it means you're all thinking about placements and learn, but do apply as soon as possible, because things can close early if there's too many applications, and that's not just for us, that's across the board. research the company in the wider industry. I've talked about practice tests already, and complete all fields of the application. You don't want to slip up because you accidentally left something blank. These are the locations you could be based in. A lot of our roles are based in the West Midlands. You can see the heavy concentration of dots there. We do also have some roles up the north in Liverpool and Manchester. When you apply, those are called out specifically. So if you are West Mids based and you don't want to move up north, you want to stay in the West Midlands, you can apply for the West Midlands related roles and vice versa. And these are just some of our benefits that are on offer as an employee at Jaguar Land Rover. Whether you're an undergraduate, graduate, or whatever you are, you're entitled to all of the benefits that you can see on screen. I won't read them all out. They're all on our website, and you can view them when you are looking, hopefully. And just finally, these are our social media channels as well. So if you follow these up, these share some insight into Jaguar Land Rover, and they'll also share updates about early careers. They'll talk about the events that we're running, the events that we're going to be present at as well, if you want to come and meet us and ask more questions, and give an insight into our culture and people. So really, really good, and definitely recommend you follow some of those channels as well, depending on the platforms that you use. So I'll stop talking now. Let's jump into a Q&A. So I'll invite Chantel, Beth, and Harry to come back on screen, and we can answer any questions you have.
Oh, thank you so much for that presentation. Really insightful, and yeah, such a good look at all the opportunities that are on offer. And we have so many questions, which I think Rob has been doing a great job at answering most of them. So I'm just going to try and pick out a few. I just wondered, do we want to do any last polls? Do you want to just check in on those last polls, or just leave them?
I can do them just at the very end if that's
Perfect.
okay.
Yeah, cool. So we do have some last polls coming. So hang on if you have any feedback. All right. So the first question I wanted to ask was, what are the main things that our employers are looking for from applicants? And I know you've mentioned quite a few things, but I wondered if you could give us some final key points.
Yeah, definitely. Great question. So I think one of the main things is potential. A lot of the questions we'll always get from people, particularly people that are at university and perhaps sort of 20 to 24 and that kind of age, is how much experience do I need? You know, do I have to have worked a job? Do I have to have done this before I apply? And the answer is no. You know, we don't expect undergraduates to have had 10 years working at a software company to be able to apply for our software engineering roles. It's not feasible. And roles in those types of industries and areas are pretty difficult to come by in terms of Saturday jobs and short-term experiences. So no, we don't expect things like that. We're just looking for potential in you, and it's about how you actually translate the experiences you've got. So you might volunteer, you might work in Primark, or you might work in McDonald's or something like that. But it's about what skills do you get from that, whether it's teamwork or communication, problem solving, and those types of things, and how they can translate to a role with us at Jaguar Land Rover. It could be like captain of your football team or something which demonstrates leadership. Lots of different things that you can think of. So it's just about, you know, looking at what do you do at university and what do you do outside of it, and how does that all translate. And we want people that are passionate and want to make a difference as well. I think that's really important. So understanding the role you've applied for, and what impact could you have if you were successful and you got that job, what would you be able to do? I think that those are the main points for me.
Great advice. And for those of you who are preparing your applications, definitely make sure to come back to the recording of this and go through all of those points, because I think that's really insightful, practical advice. Okay, so Amy asks, what challenges do you face as a company, and would I be helping you to overcome them as an intern?
Chantel, do you want to provide a bit of insight on this, and then I'm happy to add on as well, and what you think?
So I think in terms of, if we're to consider Jaguar Land Rover as an organisation, I think there's lots of changes in the external market and trends as an organisation that we have to follow as such. So I think there's lots of government policies, for instance, or there's lots in terms of sustainability that we need to meet certain metrics, for instance. I think in terms of the organisation is changing, and I think the organisation is challenged in terms of where we need to head and the direction that we need to go in. We need to look at how Jaguar Land Rover can be the most competitive, how we can produce the vehicles at the best cost, but also that are what our customers essentially are looking for. And I think the market in terms of what customers are looking for is changing day by day. So I think in terms of coming on the scheme as an undergraduate, you do have some real responsibility. So I think in terms of if you work in design or engineering, for example, you are contributing to projects that are helping to establish the business of the future that we want to be, what cars we want to deliver within the future, what experiences we want our customers to have within the future. You are really pivotal to that, coming onto a placement or coming onto a graduate scheme at Jaguar Land Rover. You bring your new insights from university, you bring insights from you being a potential customer in the future, or your friends, family being a customer of our vehicles. So all of those insights that you can bring into your placement or into a graduate scheme really helps us to accelerate as a business and address those challenges that we are facing. Hopefully that helps them.
Definitely. Thank you very much. And it's great to hear from Beth and Harry a little bit earlier as well. Obviously, they're super critical in the future of the business as well, with Beth working on the future Jaguar strategy and Harry working within design. So, yeah, great answer. Thank you.
And so maybe this one is for Beth and Harry, actually, and Sam as well. What had you learned at the company that you wouldn't have known had you stayed in uni and not taken the placement?
Beth or Harry?
Maybe just like soft skills. Like a lot of them, you know, they're quite straightforward things, but they're quite hard to come by. So a lot of uni things are quite independent. You know, you're doing your coursework, you're doing your exams. You're not working with a big team of people. You're not seeing how people collaborate and work as a big team. But also small things like in the video, I mentioned that like just getting up early. It's something so small, but like for me, I'm really bad at mornings. So it's really nice to like start to get a routine and sort of see how the world of work works. And yeah, just develop your leadership, have a bit of responsibility. You can't get like real world experience at university.
I'd completely echo what Harry's just said there, especially like the work that I kind of do is very like cross-functional and cross-team. So it's so tricky working with so many different people and making sure that everyone's kind of on the same page. And I think that's a challenge in itself, is working cross-team. What else have I learned? Again, like around the presentation, like I'm not very good at PowerPoint or Excel or anything like that. Just having those skills, which are so valuable at literally any company that you work for. So if you do the undergraduate program, those skills are going to be transferable to any single firm that you want to apply to in the future. Aside from that, it's just like different ways of working. It's especially with the whole like move to agile within JLR, that's been quite interesting, seeing how that works and different software works. So that's probably something I definitely just wouldn't have known anything about if I hadn't been at JLR.
Yeah, definitely echo that. I think that styles of working is really important. Working for lots of different people, the balance of working from home and working in the office, as we have that kind of hybrid working implemented at Jaguar Land Rover. I think it's really interesting to see them styles. For me, just to answer that question, I think confidence is a big one. We've just talked about kind of presentation skills and working in groups and stuff. And I think that's really important to help your confidence. You know, you get real responsibilities. You work with senior leaders and people like that around the company that you would never have access to if you were just doing a Saturday job or if you were just at university. And it's daunting and it's scary, but being thrown into those kind of experiences really, really helps you and grows you as an individual. And that is absolutely perfect then for your future career.
Yeah, I love that. And I loved, especially when you said earlier, when you went back to university, a lot of the content, the theoretical stuff sort of made more sense in the context of the practical side. So I think that could be a real advantage, especially if you're struggling to apply your uni work to like real life. Okay, Rob has done just the most fantastic job in answering most of these questions. So he has put the link as well at the top, and in the highlighted link that I put up a couple of times, this is where you can click through to the Early Careers website. And a lot of you asking about graduate roles as well. So if you click through to that link, you should be able to find all the information on the website. Okay, so maybe a last thing could be, what is the best project that you've worked on so far, or like the coolest project was the exact term of the question.
Shall we all give a little 30-second sort of elevator on what the best one was? I'll start with you, Beth, because I know you've got to go too.
So the coolest ones I can't talk about because of my NDAs, but a couple of months ago, I organised a trip for my team to London, which was really cool because the Mirror Imagine strategy is all around a transition to modern luxury. So we went round and went on a bit of a luxury safari. So we had like private tours of hotels and like luxury shops and things like that. That was like such a cool project and something that I organised myself, which was really just great to do. But yeah, I'm going to dip off now.
No worries.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah, again, I can't really say too much about some of my stuff, but one of the really cool things was they did this big like concept for like Land Rover in, I think it was like 2035. So like, 10, 15 years in the future. And it was a whole like display of where the company's going, where the brand's going. It's amazing to think so far in the future. And yeah, that was very cool to sort of play a small part in that.
Brilliant. Chantal?
So I think in terms of, I'll probably pick two. So in terms of working in early careers, for example, working on a previous campaign also at Jaguar Land Rover, what Sam and the team have been doing to get everything ready now, I think that was something that was really exciting for me, something where I could see a real tangible outcome that I was really pleased to be involved with. And bringing in new graduates, undergraduates, apprentices, it's really, really exciting and really something that's super rewarding. I think probably not a project but a piece of work that I was involved in was leading an engagement program at Jaguar Land Rover within HR that actually enabled me to go to Slovakia and go to something that we called conventions, where we got to see everybody, lots of people from across the world come together, which was just amazing, just to do some real good community work, see all the fantastic work people had done across the globe. So that's probably another piece of work or highlight that I'd say.
Amazing. For me, yeah, this early careers campaign is definitely up there in terms of achievements, things I've really enjoyed. But also one that I did sort of previous to this, I was loaned to the diversity and inclusion team for a little bit. And basically I worked on and created a couple of e-learnings around D&I. We didn't have anything really in place, or we certainly hadn't had a refresh for a little while. So it's absolutely fantastic to work on. Worked on two modules of e-learnings, which have then gone out to 35,000 people in the business, or however many we have at this point. So really, really exciting, great projects to work on, definitely.
Thank you so much. Should we do a quick final poll before we go?
Yes, defo. So I've got two quick poll questions that I'm just going to ask everyone. The first one is this one. How confident do you feel after hearing from us today in applying for an undergraduate placement? I'll flick onto the final slide while we say that. So extremely likely, so that's pretty good. Always helps. Likely as well. I'm hoping and I'm glad that we could make a little bit of a difference to you. I hope. Yeah, that's fantastic to see. And just the final question. So let me just put the poll up. So based on this webinar today, how likely are you to consider Jaguar Land Rover when you're making applications to undergraduate and graduate programs and placements? Oh, I think a different poll's gone up for some reason.
Oh, this one is... Oh, I think the previous one was based on today, and everyone said very likely or likely. And this one is confident, and everyone's saying. Again, I think you've got 0% on all of the not confident ones. So that's a good sign.
That's always good. Well, yeah, hopefully, I should start with thank you for joining our webinar today. Hopefully this has been useful to you. You've learned a little bit more about undergraduate placement. You feel a little bit more prepared, and you know a bit about us too and the applications and roles that we have at the moment. If you want, obviously, you can view our website. There's loads more information on there. That's where all the roles are hosted too. on there you can see some of the events that we're attending. So we're doing something called Webinar Wednesdays this year. They are every so often on a Wednesday. They have been every week. I think they're moving to every 2 or 3 weeks now. There's lots of different topics. You can come and hear about them on those Webinar Wednesdays and come and talk to us. And every Friday at 1 till 3 p.m. we run a drop-in as well. So I know we didn't get round to every question on the Q&A in person today, but you can ask any questions there, and we're all live and there to help you at them. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. We've really appreciated your input throughout this event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. And remember, this session is recorded, so you can come back to it at any time. Definitely revisit it as you're making your applications. And yeah, thank you for all of your questions. I don't think I've ever seen so many questions. Well done for engaging so well with everything. Thank you so much to the team and for this presentation. What an insight. And yeah, see you all again sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.